Hello, Gonky.
Hello, Mover. How are you?
Damn, that's pretty intense there. For those of you listening at home, the title of this episode is Could This Be the Last Episode with Gonky?
Is Doug still with us? Doug, you there?
As far as we know.
Oh, hi, Douglas. The show falls apart without Douglas. It can go on without Gonky, but
yeah,
Douglas is
expendable.
I wouldn't know. The only time I wasn't here, I didn't watch.
Wow. Yeah. Well, good evening. We've had a busy week and we've got a lot to talk about. And we're going to do things differently. First, Gonky, you were supposed to run this, and yet here I am talking.
Dude, you've got a voice for radio, man. I can't compete with that.
A face for radio, a voice for something. Okay.
That's right.
So somebody's already asking, is this clickbait? No, it's a valid question, because I think realistically there was a chance about a week ago today, actually, that the show was not going to go on. And
Maybe.
Yeah, I think realistically there was no chance. So are you cracking open a cold one at this hour?
LaCroix, baby. Don't get excited.
Oh, Gonky. Yeah, you probably need to crack open a cold one. So we're going to do things a little differently today and start with the Mental Health Minute. And this is brought to you by Gonky.
Yeah. So like Mover alluded to, it's not that, well, we were arguing on whether it be the last show or not, but basically I was presented with a pretty amazing opportunity and I ended up not taking it. It was an opportunity to get back into, point nose jets, basically Super Hornets, and do some amazing flying stuff that I love doing. And of course, Mover and even Doug here were helping me out through the whole process of trying to figure it out. So it kind of ties right into the Mental Health Minute of priorities. So, as a fighter pilot, Mover can attest to this, but priorities are pretty important. Who are you going to target, right? If you're doing a self-escort strike, you got bombs and missiles, like what's the priority? The air picture or the ground target? But in life too, like I'm a small business owner, right? So you got to prioritize things that you're doing in your business with your time, right? You got to prioritize your time, because you can be busy, but not busy on the things you need to be busy on. So if you don't prioritize correctly, you won't be in business very long, is basically the gist of it with priorities in business. And then on a personal level, when you're single, priorities are pretty easy. You consult yourself, figure out what's best for you, and you go. When you get married, it's a little bit more dynamic because, you have your husband or wife. And then when you have kids, it's even, it muddies the picture even more. So basically, this opportunity I was presented with, I totally wanted to do it. Gonky, the fighter pilot, was, all for it. But, it was hard for me to come to terms with the fact that it's not all about me anymore. I mean, you guys, all these pictures, the I love me wall behind me, even this show, right? We get to talk, Mover and I get to talk about, flying fighters and stuff. We kind of relive the old days, which is fun. And I miss it. But at the end of the day, the opportunity, the job was fantastic. The money was crazy. I'd never made that much money in my life. But where it was at with my wife, we're in a good church here. She's got good friends. My kids are very young. We have no family down here, right? So our friends and basically the church is like our family down here when it comes to helping with family matters. And at the end of the day, I put the decision in my wife's hands because I told her, I said, I'm going to do it. And so, I put the family's priorities first, and she really couldn't give me a straight answer. And to me, that was an answer. So it was hard. I told Mover I'm going to need therapy. Probably still will. I've talked to him about it a bunch this week. I'm 45, and an opportunity to go fly the latest and greatest Super Hornets probably not going to come back, or any pointy nose airplane for that matter. But it's okay. I sleep like a baby. And, as you get older, you just have to prioritize, because it's not always all about you, especially when other people are riding on the decisions you're going to make. That was a little bit of a self-centered view on priorities, but I don't know, Mover, what do you got?
I'm going to do the standard Gonky. I don't have much to add. You kind of covered it.
But I always add something.
Yeah.
You can't cop out like that.
All right. So I'll do it a little differently. Instead of something pre-planned, there's an aside to this. So I applied, same thing, and didn't even get called. So the fact that they called you is a credit to the relationships you've made, the experience that you have, and your abilities as a fighter pilot that'll never go away, no matter what you choose, no matter what you do. And you've told me this many times, that once you're a fighter pilot, you're always a fighter pilot. Yep. It doesn't matter if you're current or not. So, and Jerry Vink said the same thing a couple of weeks ago. So that's one thing for sure. The second part, you and I was part of this process, as much as it pained me, because, I'm sitting there wanting to see what you're going to do, while, I really wanted that job too. And it would have been cool to, for both of us to go fly. So there's a little bit of envy, but also, just being a supportive friend, which is a whole different mental health minute by itself. But from the prioritization thing, when you made your decision, I agree with you. Your reasons are valid, and you're absolutely right about prioritizing things. And, when we talk about the mental health minute, I like to relate it to flying. When we go air to air, we give our wingmen priorities. We say, here's what you're targeting. Here's your sort within that targeting responsibility. Here are your priorities. And even from a bigger picture, we change those priorities based on how far the threat is, how far we are from whatever we're defending, how far we are from a target if we're dropping a bomb, whether we transition air to air, air to ground. We're always changing our priorities based off of the current situation. And that's exactly what you did in this situation. Was your priorities as a 25-year-old would have been, you'd have had me pulling you over on I-12
Yep.
for excessive speed to get here. But as a man with a family that had very valid reasons to do what you did, a good life that you set up for your family that you didn't want to have to uproot, I think that priority matrix changes. And really, it's probably one of the hardest things to be selfless and go, what's better for the group? And it's the same thing in aviation. When we're flying, what's better for the mission objectives? What will accomplish the mission objectives for our 4-ship, for our 2-ship, for the flight? When you're a flight lead, you have more than just you as a responsibility. And that's part of the progression of becoming an aviator or becoming a fighter pilot. Is you start out and you're really just responsible for yourself. You're a wingman. You're going out to Joker Bingo, lead, you're on fire. I'll take the fat one. And you're out slinging missiles and doing what you have to do because you told me to, drill sergeant.
Right.
And then you level up a little bit. You become an element lead, 2-ship flight lead, and then 4-ship flight lead, mission commander, where you're dealing with the entire package, so to speak. And then you become an instructor and you're instructing those things. And throughout that transition, you realize that your priorities change. I'm not just worried about me and my flight lead. Now I'm worried about everybody that I'm responsible for keeping alive. And that's exactly what you've done. You've done a real world example of how to prioritize things. And in general, for the mental health side of things, I think the point is to understand what your own priorities are, which means you have to have a strong core. You have to have a strong moral fiber. You have to have a spine. You have to be a man of integrity, which I know, Gonky, I'm not going to get sappy, but you've always been, dude. You've always had, this core belief system, and that is what has guided you left, right, wherever you need to go. And that whatever decision you make, it's going to work out. And so when you have that core belief system, when you have that integrity, you can make these tough decisions and you can prioritize, because all you're doing is prioritizing based off of that. Same thing when we fly, the commander's intent. What's the commander's intent? How do I prioritize so that we accomplish our mission objectives, our tactical objectives, and whatever? And so I think it all wraps up into one big piece of mental health, because you have to live with those decisions and you have to be able to sleep like a baby when you make those big decisions. So I give you credit for doing that. It's a tough thing to do. You're a stronger man than I. There's the knife hand somebody just said. And I'll do my standard pitch. You know, if you're struggling with priorities, you're struggling with something mental health, you don't know what's going on, talk to somebody. You know, Gonky didn't do this in a vacuum. I think you maybe blew if this were 10 years ago, you'd have run out of minutes, even on nights and weekends. Your Nokia would not have worked because you called so many people trying to get advice. So
yeah, that's true.
And that is, we go back. I say this every time. You have to be able to rely on your friends, family, coworkers, whatever. And if you can't, call somebody. You know, get professional help. Even if you can, get professional help. Get an outsider's opinion, and don't go this alone. Doug, what do you got for this?
Those hard choices are hard. I mean, they call them that for a reason.
So to speak.
I think that something that the three of us talked about that kind of was something that I came out of it with is it's not always about the money. It's not always about whatever big shiny piece of it there is, whether it's the money or the fame, if that's in play, or the excitement. There's a lot more to real life decisions than that. And I've been there too. And I hope I made the right calls. My family thinks I did.
That's all that matters.
Somebody in the chat said Cougar also made a choice. His wife and kids, sir, he's almost orphaned one day, never to see him.
Yeah. I didn't have those when I was in my glory days.
Yeah, man. I don't know. You got anything else for this?
No, Mover. I talked to Doug about it. Mover. You definitely, I find a lot of times if you're spinning your wheels in whatever you're doing in life, it's a lot of times because you don't have your priorities right, and that's a good chance to reach out to people that you trust. And I even wanted to hear people's opinion who were biased, because they might tell me something I wasn't thinking about. Right. So reach out, like Mover said. Don't, I'm a firm believer in basically any kind of mental health issue. You want to reach out and get some level of help.
Yeah.
Don't just weather the storm yourself.
Don't eat the shrooms. We'll get to that in a second.
I'm going to go back to what Gonky just said there, that even if you know somebody who's absolutely opposed to what you're talking about or what you're thinking about, or has a really clear set against what you think is the right answer, it's still good to talk to them, because there might be something you didn't pick up.
Yep.
Some of the best leaders in history had close people that they disagreed with all the time. The emperor is not wearing clothes. You want somebody that will tell you. Sometimes they're just going to give you a wake-up call. Sometimes they'll just say that one thing. Hey, are you doing this for you or for somebody else?
Yep. 100%, man.
Speaking of which, there will be no show next week because Gonky's midlife crisis continues.
I'm not having a midlife crisis, man. Where's this? You're the one with the Corvette and
I've had
the helicopters and
How many pairs of New Balances do you own?
Yeah, just the one. No, seriously though, Gonky, where can people watch you this coming weekend?
Oh no,
is
nothing.
This televised?
No. I'm going to California to do a motorcycle race. I like racing dirt bikes, but it's just for fun. So
how's that?
Sorry. It hurts. Still, it's healing, but it hurts.
Okay. All right. Doug, did we have something from Franklin? I saw it before we started. I told him we'd give him credit, but I never
check the stars. I think I grabbed the right one.
Okay. All right. So Franklin, thank you. And then Franklin says, I love your books. I'm 53, Army LACV 30 hovercraft. Wow. Cool. G.I. Joe. Yeah. Back in the 80s, just went to the VA for my tinnitus, got 10%. Flight crews go to the VA, get hearing checked, and report tinnitus. Huh?
Yeah, I did. They didn't give me anything for tinnitus, but they gave me like 10% for hearing loss.
Gonky, I believe that, considering you fell asleep in the hearing test.
True story.
If it doesn't wake you up, it's kind of a thing. John says, quote, our life is the sum total of all the decisions we make every day, and those decisions are determined by our priorities. Miles Monroe. Thank you, John. That's good. D Stew, thank you. Says
Thanks,
Gonky, dude, you just solidified my respect for you. God bless you, man, for prioritizing your family. Pointy Jet, man, you're one of a kind. Bless you, man.
Thanks, dude. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Aaron, thank you. Aaron says, sounds like you wanted Viper, but just stayed with your wingman instead. Wingman. You got it. If you're saying Top Gun, it's wingman. Good on you, Gonky.
That's right. Not leaving my wingman.
Yeah, my wingman.
Thanks, man.
Yep. And then Sean says, for a new pack of cruise socks for Gonky's new chapter.
Oh, I love it. Thanks, Sean.
You would have needed the cruise sock had you done this. Not
yeah. Yes.
It might have trended that direction
Correct.
had you done this. And Zippers Forever says, Rinka says priorities are ball is life. That is valid. But even dogs prioritize.
That's right. Of course they do.
You know, the hierarchy of needs and stuff like that. And Aaron says, I left spray flying for the same reasons, family number one.
Yep.
And you'll see that a lot. I mean, Gonky, we've talked about when to walk away.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes you just have to decide, where are my priorities right now? You know, when you're in your 20s, priorities are just whatever, you go rage.
Yep.
But as you grow older, they change. And there's nothing wrong with that. Betty says $10. Thank you.
Thanks, Betty.
And then $2. Betty, if you had a question, please repost it because we didn't see it there. And Matt says, in these uncertain times, family stability and security is probably the first choice over pursuing a cool job opportunity. Much respect for your decision.
Thanks, Matt.
We'll remember that when we start the GoFundMe next year.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
Oh my God, what are we doing? Anyway, yeah. And then Robert says, gonna have to drop out for the wife's chili. We'll have to catch up after you're done. Good luck with your decision. Best wishes. Thank you, Robert.
Was that a 300?
He might be racing you next week.
He's got the enduro tank on there. Nice bike though. Thanks, Robert.
Okay. All right. In life, Gonky is Maverick. No, Gonky's got a family and does not live in
I used to be, man.
Yeah.
Now I'm just. Yeah.
He's not likely to be living in an Airstream with his P-51.
Be kind of cool for a little bit.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. Douglas, do you have the Alaska Horizon jumpseater update for us?
I do.
Excellent.
Let me see which one we want to start with.
Well, no, it's not the Wall Street Journal one. Oh, did you figure out how to get the Wall Street Journal one?
I did. I went to all that trouble just so you could tell me not to use it.
Well, that's a whole different topic. We'll key in on it after. This is just the update. So we talked about the Alaska jumpseater pulling the fire handles last week, and let us begin.
So this is some more detail on what the guy was going through. It was the anniversary of a close friend's death, who had died unexpectedly 5.5 years ago. And they mentioned that, let's see, he had talked to his wife. She said maybe you should talk to somebody. Asked her husband if he could take medication. The FAA has a really onerous process for getting approved for any medications, and getting counseling is really difficult. So he chose not to. You can't be out of work. You have to pay a mortgage. If I go through that, I have to go through all these hoops, and we can't afford to do that. There's been research on mental health issues in pilots that suggests that 12% of commercial pilots have depression, 4.1% report suicidal thoughts. So that means that with 2 pilots per aircraft, one out of 4 aircraft that are out there flying are flying with a pilot that qualifies clinically depressed. So the article goes on to talk about all the steps that a pilot would have to go through in order to get back in the cockpit, if they could get back in the cockpit. There's also been, I couldn't find it in this article, but there was some sources suggesting that he had actually used mushrooms.
Self-medicated with mushrooms.
Yeah.
Right? I thought
a
that
lot
was
of people,
in this one.
A lot of people are talking about, I hate that phrase, but it's true in this case. A lot of people are talking about using microdoses of psychedelics for mental health issues. It's a pretty common idea of alternate treatment. And
ketamine, something like that. Ketamine, is that
ketamine
they do
too?
the
ketamine and psilocybin. But there's very, very little clinical data to support that. And whenever somebody's doing something that they quote unquote did their own research, who knows what he took or how much he took, if he took anything.
So he was returning home and he texted, "I want to come home. I want to cuddle. Can we just sit on the couch and cuddle and watch TV when I get home?"
And there was no indication.
It says the mushrooms right there. Scroll down. If you scroll to the bottom, it actually does say he took the mushrooms. There you go. Scroll up. At some point, one paragraph up. I've
got the highlighter now. I have to highlight.
Yeah. At some point during the preceding somber 2 days, Emerson took psychedelic mushrooms, he told investigators. Stretch was shocked when she found that out. Said her husband would never take anything. He was afraid to be in a room with smoking marijuana because he could have jeopardized his medical clearance. I don't know. Do shrooms pop on a urinalysis?
I think they do.
Because, I mean, that's a thing. DOT, you're a DOT employee, or you're a DOT, you get drug tested. I mean, I've been like, hey, FO, here's your half hour of pay to go sit there for 2 hours and wait for the P test. And
I know poppy seeds will. Pretty sure the mushrooms will too.
Typically, no. Most tests won't hit them.
Really?
Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why he did it.
Yep.
This goes back to the mental health thing. I don't want to call it a thing. This goes back to mental health in aviation, and the irony of this is the thing that he was afraid of is the thing that will now happen tenfold, which is he's going to lose his license, medical freedom to some degree, depending on how they play this out. And all because he decided to self-medicate. I really hate that it was happening because of a friend. That's awful, to lose somebody, and especially on the anniversary, it always brings up memories and stuff like that. I mean, I know as well as anybody. But on the flip side, you have to be able to get help. And I think in general, we are trending in the right direction. It's just very slowly. I've talked to my friend who has a friend of the channel, is a psychiatrist and actually does some stuff with the FAA. And there is a trend to try to make this better, because her argument is, if you look back at like Germanwings and stuff like that, that's a one-off. Most of the pilots that end up in these situations are actually depressed. And if they do become suicidal, it's alone. It's not, I'm going to take out an entire airplane full of people. It's just, they're going to do this on their own, which is never the answer. Obviously, 988 is a resource if you ever think that that's going to happen. But the argument is, if you allow people to get treatment with the risk only being themselves, not taking out an airplane full of people behind them, then you actually open up the door to prevent stuff like this from happening, because now everybody's on board with it. We have a solid treatment plan. We have the ability to help people when they need it, because what's worse? Somebody who's depressed, flying an airplane, undiagnosed, or somebody who's getting treatment and going through the process and can keep their medical and can be observed and actually get back into the cockpit and not worry about losing their entire medical and their entire livelihood. I know major airlines with new contracts, disability is now including mental health, but in the past it did not. Gonky?
Yeah, I mean, it's just sad that, the way this system is set up, I mean, like, we don't go to the dock, you know what I'm saying? I mean, that mentality as pilots, it's just, it's kind of sets up, it's a recipe for disaster with people who actually do have help, who need help. And, I believe if you can identify these issues with yourself early and get help early, I think that's the best chance of correcting the problem, without really any drama, right? I mean, but if it continues to manifest, then you get, worst case scenario, Germanwings, or even, something like this, the guy self-medicating and, almost crashing an airplane. So I will say that it's too bad that I know, at least in the Navy, our flight docs were really good about, you could talk to them about some things like, hey, okay, let's talk offline here for a second. What would happen if I told you this kind of thing? And that was pretty helpful And you know, because there's a couple times I banged myself up, and I was like, I don't want to, you know, skippers be mad if he finds out I can't fly his airplane. So there was that. At least in the military, there was that avenue. But that doesn't, the guy that gives me my physical here, like all he cares about is the $250 clears, and everything on the EKG is good. You know, it is a joke. I'm laughing.
Yellow light, Gonky.
But you know what I'm
just ruined it for everybody.
But you know what I'm saying,
FAA's
right? I
coming
mean,
after him.
but the doc, like my doc here, like he sees me once a year, and hey, how you doing? Good. Okay, everything's good to go. Yep, fine. You know, but if I say anything, he doesn't know me. He doesn't, you know he doesn't know anything about me really, other than, you know, what I put on that piece of paper. So it's like I said, the system I think is not helping.
Well, it's one of few professions where saying something once can put you in a hurt locker for a long time. You say the wrong thing, you know, they ask you the question, you know, have you ever had thoughts of, you know, hurting yourself or hurting somebody else or something like that? Let's say you answer yes. What's that path look like? And, you know, it's one of the things we have to take seriously because it's a serious thing. But what's the difference between no kidding, and this goes way above my pay grade because I don't have, Doug, you have the psychological background that I severely lack. But what's the difference between a suicidal ideation and just somebody offhandedly saying, well, I don't want to be here anymore? You know what I'm saying? The depression where you get to the lowest low and you're like, man, this sucks, I don't want to be here anymore, versus an actual actionable thought that then could manifest itself and actually become a threat.
Yeah, and I'd say a good 99.9% of the time, the people hearing that aren't going to be qualified to make that call. We need to be encouraging people to talk to professionals because nobody else is qualified to answer the question you just asked.
Talk to professionals, but also feel that there's no penalty for doing that. Right. Because the reason people avoid it, and it's the same thing in the military with security clearances for the longest time, because that was one of the questions that had you talk to anything beyond family counseling, couples counseling, all that stuff. If you had gone beyond that and talked about any of those things, you were a security risk. So people were worried about their security clearance. People were worried about losing their medical. In culture, pilot culture or whatever, the more you avoid a topic, I think the more it bubbles up to the top, and instead of treating it, we end up creating more problems.
Yeah, there are agencies that mandate mental health visits and psychological counseling, and I have a fellow professional who worked in that industry, and he said that the mandatory nature of it essentially cured all the problems. People would come in and say, well, you know, they tell their buddies, well, I'm just going because I have to. And then when they came into his office, they would just unload, and you know, everybody had to do it. It was all equal. Nobody was in danger because of it.
Well, look at the self-medication. I wonder how many, you know, we have HIMSS for alcohol problems, and we have a way to handle that, right? I mean, there at least is a path forward for that. But I would wonder what the percentage of people that self-medicate, you know, because it's a problem in law enforcement, it's a problem in the military where people use alcohol or other substances to try to fix the problem versus talking it through and actually getting a solution like you're talking about.
I think the military does a better job with it, man. Because remember, I mean, there's all kinds of people you can talk to. And then remember, even in the Navy, we'd have those meetings where we would, like, you know, talk about one another. And then when it was their turn to talk about you, they would kick you out. Yeah, I know. It's always like, hey, anybody notice anything weird about Gonky? No, how about his home life?
Day. Yeah,
but you know what I'm saying? Like, it was, I don't know.
That's unique. Yeah, that's a unique thing, but that's still the Navy. Even the Navy still had you know, if you went to a counselor and got something on your medical record that said you had a diagnosis, you know, you got a diagnosis code, you were done. Same thing in the Air Force, which is great. Now the Air Force has mental health family counselors that are actually embedded in the squadron. And as long as you stay within the between the ditches and you stay within the guidelines,
Don't
you could
say
go
this.
talk to them. Well, it's not don't say this,
Right.
but as long as they did not believe you were a threat to yourself or someone else, you could get help, and it wasn't documented. But to me, it's a shame that we can't document it, that we're so wrapped around these diagnosis codes that, if you have this diagnosis one time, you're done. It's just like the PTSD thing.
Yep.
Right. With what T-Bear was talking about last week, where a guy loses his medical because he's got PTSD. Well, PTSD is not something that sometimes it's not avoidable. It's just part of combat. Should we treat it and allow the person to have a life after, or should we say, well, here's your VA disability, you're done, even though if that person's perfectly functioning?
The way the old guys used to do is just drown themselves in alcohol, right? That's no good.
That's right. and here we're a situation where a guy was afraid of getting treatment, and he's like, well, mushrooms, it probably won't pop on a whiz quiz. Meanwhile, he's, the schnozberries taste like schnozberries, and the fire handles are calling his name. That's certainly not a better outcome.
No, at the end of the day, he's just trying to, clearly he was just trying to provide a living for his family. That was his prioritization. I gotta make it for my family. So he was doing what he thought he had to do, which unfortunately is the wrong answer,
Dude, we've got 20 years of combat now. Aviators that are going to these airlines with 20 years of combat. That is a lot of baggage, even without the other stresses of family deployments or just the rigors of deployments. I'm not talking about just the killing people. I'm talking about just the rigors of going to war. You're risking your life. You're coming back. Your ops tempo, all the stuff.
You might have lost your family to divorce, right?
Very tough. So. Yes. Anyway, let's get to some of these questions because actually some of them are related. John says, Gonky, where's the race? It is in SoCal.
Yeah.
You told me, where is it? It's like outside of LA.
Oh man,
San
John,
Bernardino?
you're going to be like completely underwhelmed with my ability. It's Glen Helen at San Bernardino, California. It's the biggest vet motocross race in America. I've done it before, and I haven't done it in my 40s yet, so I'm going. So.
Yeah, there you go. Adam says, respect for Gonky. Whatever your choice was, it would have been the right one. Priority over greed. Also, CW Lemoyne ARCA 2024. I just reposted part one of that video that I posted back in February or January when we were trying to get ARCA sponsorship. I'm hoping somebody sees it. I'd love to do it again. It costs a lot of money. Yeah, that'd be fun. I think if we somehow got the funding, I'd put the Mover and Gonky show sponsored ARCA car right on the hood, dude. And then Gonky's face waving from the back.
Yeah, just in the back window. Trigger 118 says, thank you. Hopefully the FAA can reevaluate its choices on mental health treatment and medications. Hopefully it'll encourage guys to get help that need it. We say hopefully a lot. I agree. And there are people that I know that are trying to work towards that. The problem with any government agency is, what do they usually do? The opposite. Why do you have to take your shoes off? Why do we do security theater in a lot of places? It's because we went the other way instead of addressing the root cause. So I hope they do. And I hope this is a message to make this better, because guess what? You got a pilot shortage. And all these kids coming up with ADHD medicine and these diagnoses for all this stuff, they're not qualified. What are you going to do? You're not going to have enough pilots. Well, they'll change the standard, Mover, as we'll talk about later.
Yeah, there is that. Let's see, we got one more here. Let's see. Did I do this one already? Yes. As someone that is still fighting to get a PBL I just said that, with an ADHD diagnosis and meds, I feel the FAA needs to change the way it operates when it comes to mental health and encourages people to not get help. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. There is a middle ground. One old buzzard says, I got here late and still behind real-time chat. I just had to say, as an old man, decisions will get harder, but you done good, Gonky.
Thanks, man. Thank you. That's
So
awesome.
breaking from MJ, she actually just my friend that's a psychiatrist. He said the FAA is really trying to change that right now. You can get treated for depression or PTSD or other things and have a diagnosis and get back to flying. She has a friend that she says needs to be on the channel that may be able to answer more questions. So hell
There we
yeah,
go.
let's do that. So there you go. I stand corrected. Hopefully she's not mad at me for reading that. Don't text me in the middle of a show if you don't want it. I read straight from the teleprompter.
Yeah, that's right. I am Ron Burgundy.
Yeah, I'm Mover. Betty says, failed at Super Chat, but love the show. Here's what I hope you see. Oh, the dog.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Is that a doodle? Golden
Looks
doodle?
like it.
Or a black golden
Straight,
doodle?
maybe a straight poodle.
Doodle. Thank you to all the first responders in Maine, including the Rotowing, EMS, and Leo pilots who are flying. Man,
Oh, yeah.
what a crazy thing. Jeez, that's a mental health thing too.
Oh, yeah.
100%. 100%. Medical crews, blood, and patients, along with Leos who were flying with snipers to take out the offender. They all probably knew families and patients offended.
Yep.
100% a mental health thing. Arian says Gonky can now instead prioritize on how to not point the nose of the DCS Hornet into the ground. Just kidding. Respect on making such a hard decision. He can't afford a DCS Hornet now. If he'd have taken the job, he could have afforded a DCS.
If I had taken the, I'd have a Connex box that would be like a giant sim.
The whole Connex container would move. He would have a sim operator. Connor Custer says, yeah, no wife. Check in for the week. Here for your opinions again. I will have to retake the DP test at Buckley. Curious how helpful or strict the military docs will be. Strict. Yeah. Depth perception test. Well, so if they're part of, I would expect them to be strict. Just remember, it's never the outside circles. It's always one of the three middle ones. And just move your,
Connor, hydrate. And I mean, man, maybe to go to Walmart, get some cheaters or something. I don't know.
You can't wear those.
No, but like if you're, it's not 2020 uncorrected anymore, is it?
Yeah, but you can't wear that for the you have to have a, like,
Are you sure?
you can't go in with cheaters, not like
for the
having
depth perception
prescription.
No, because like when I failed it, they tested my eyes. They're like, oh, you're slightly off 2020, which freaked me out. One eye was. And so they gave me cheaters, and I took the test again with the cheaters, and I passed. Connor, you're going to want to verify what the most current.
I wouldn't be taking this,
policy is,
but I would say just remember, tilt your head, relax your eyes.
Relax your eyes. Take your time and drink plenty of water the day before.
Form every statement as a question. 3?
Yeah, that's true.
Civil Air Patrol. Cool. Michael says, go see the chaplain rather than the counselor at Fleet and Family. It's not Fleet and Family. It's MFLCS. They're in the squadron. Like they're literally embedded in the squadron.
Yep.
We have one at the wing at our current job. She's awesome. And I don't know that you get better quality than what I've seen. And I mean, it helped me with T-38 stuff, a couple years ago. So, but I do think the chaplain is good.
The chaplain will work too. Yeah.
100%. The chaplain last drill weekend was like, Mover, you okay? Came and sat down. We talked for an hour. He's like, you look like something's bothering you. And I was like,
yeah.
Who sent you?
Yeah. How do you know so much? Yeah.
God,
I've been bad mouthing Gonky all day.
Yeah. Rinka wants to hang with Gonky. All the ladies do.
All ladies and puppies.
MJ says Gonky is right. But she forgives me. The way he said is what is exactly supposed to happen in the DP test. So I stand corrected, Gonky. For legal reasons, that wasn't a joke.
I'm not just a pretty face, dude. There is some actual knowledge up here.
All the makeup. Colin Kunkel says, I'm not a pilot, but a lot of the mental health stuff you guys talk about really hits home. Been dealing with this stuff for a long time.
Yeah.
Freediver says, I tried to get back to flying and mental health prevented it. DCS and shooting plexi out of the virtual sky is great therapy. You suck at plexi.
Hey, shoot him once for me.
I don't understand the plexi thing, but I'm on board with it. All right. So Gonky.
Yes, sir.
Hold on. Doug, how do we get rid of that? Get rid of that comment. It won't go away. Thank you. Our next
No
topic.
problem.
Yeah, thank you. For those of you listening to the podcast, things have happened. Our next topic is the Israeli Air Force shot down something, and I don't know what it is, but we're going to take a look at the video because
It's cool.
I mean, it's a shoot down video.
Something.
So here we are from the Twitter.
Is it a Tic Tac?
Oh boy.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
Did the
boy.
viewership just spike?
Wombat to the white courtesy phone. Wombat to the courtesy phone. It's his anniversary, by the way.
That's a
Happy anniversary, Wombat.
Yeah, happy anniversary, Wombat.
Yeah.
And Kate.
Wombat knows nothing about aliens. Please stop asking him about the aliens. Not really. Stop asking him. He doesn't understand that any publicity is good publicity.
That's true. 100%.
You know, I Googled this, by the way, and I couldn't find anything on it.
What, this shoot down?
Yeah, like as far as any, I might just be bad at the Googles, but I can't find any amplifying data, and I don't speak Israeli Hebrew. Is that what they speak?
Yes.
Not cultured enough to know.
there's-
Okay, let's just play. What we do know, though, is this is an Eagle. It's not a Viper. They're doing 350 knots, 679 knots of closure because it's Freedom units. Heading 230. So west. Those are mountains, look like.
Yep.
And they're out of 11,500. There's two people talking, so probably they're a strike eagle, like the big eagle with two people.
Maybe. I don't know, dude. Maybe he's talking to AWACS.
It skips. So now we're down to 7,000 feet, and we're in a turn. So we've gone 60 degrees in this right-hand turn. So he's doing like a stern conversion or a beam conversion. Probably the beam, huh? That's the Eagle with the high AOA, max performing, right? Isn't that the noise it makes when it's
I don't know, dude.
Because I remember the T-38C was based off that when you got into the
Was
single rate, double rate beepers. Yeah, because
I thought maybe he was having an engine fire or something. I don't know. These sounds are new to me.
There's his tone. Good tone. Probably shooting a python at him. It's maneuvering.
Game over. Python.
There you go.
Yep.
Fox 2. There you go. Good kill. And something about Obama. That's what I heard.
That was a joke.
That was totally a joke. I'm sorry. People get so mad. Gonky, what do you think about that?
I mean, it's a shoot down of something. I don't know what.
Yeah. They shot down a cruise missile from Yemen, unverified, yesterday. I don't think that's what that was, but
it's not going that fast.
There's a lot there. This is a target of some sort that,
I mean, if I don't know the speed, I mean, he's just cruising at like 300 knots, 350 knots. So I don't know what it is. I mean, yeah, it maneuvered a little, but I don't.
Yeah, it looked like it was just a conversion is what they were doing on the dude there.
I don't know. I mean, they shot down something, and like you said, it's good. It's cool to watch, but I didn't see like an ejection or nothing. So
so we don't know. A lot of good information out of this, but you can tell that things are happening over there. And all right, good talk.
Maybe they just launched a drone and we'll shoot this down, put it on social media. Watch Mover and Gonky scratch their head.
Oh boy. Legal reasons. This is a joke. Plexi's back.
Hey,
Wait, I got tied up at work. What did I miss? Don't you leave us, Gonky.
I'm not going anywhere, Plexi.
Aaron says, if Gonky's call sign is such an issue, why didn't his squadron give him a new call sign when he was catching one wires back to back like aces or something? Seems like a missed opportunity, Gonky.
Aaron, I had a lot of opportunities for renaming recall signing, as they say in the Navy. But my actual call sign is pretty good and proved to be unbeatable. So that's why they never changed it. There was a couple things that attempted, but no, Gonky just stuck. So I can't hear you.
I'm muted.
It's really funny though.
I love how it told me that it was muted too, and I was like, "Oh, I'm muted." It's not the Gonky that's bad; it's what it means.
Correct.
Like we had ass face in the squadron. That's a bad call sign. He had to get changed. Like had to change that. That's something you can't hide. Gonky, it's if you only knew.
True.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. It's what it means.
Yeah. And then Aaron says, Jester's dead. Yeehaw. All right, moving on to our next topic, something lighter. We don't have to always be serious. And we love articles, especially from people. This is from Micah, Screen Rant. And this came across my feed the other day.
Oh,
and
is this the one? Oh, yeah.
This is the one. You're the one.
Brother.
8 Top Gun Maverick details. You and I ruined this movie, Gonky. We got a lot of flack for it.
Because it's true. People don't like the truth.
We have been debunked. They don't. He or she or they them doesn't mention us by name. It doesn't mention us by name, but I feel attacked as I'm reading this. So, 8 Top Gun Maverick details that prove Tom Cruise's obsession with realistic flight scenes paid off. Realistic. Remember, we ruined this movie. Top Gun: Maverick successes arguably saved the movie industry. These 8 details prove Cruise's commitment to making the best movie possible. You're going to love it.
It was a fantastic movie. We don't discount that. It's amazing.
I love it. I bought it. I own it. Yeah. I listened to it. I love it.
Yeah,
Gonky,
I love it.
I wouldn't recommend watching it for the next month or so, just until the wound kind of.
I know, I can't. It's like pouring salt on the wound.
Too soon. We're not going to do the summary because I want the full experience. So, Gonky, did you read this?
I read part of it.
I don't have a fancy highlighter like Douglas. I mean, I can do that. But 36-year gap between 1986 Top Gun and its 2022 sequel, the wait was well worth it. Moreover, Cruise's star power rose exponentially over that 3-decade break. Remember, he made Days of Thunder, which is arguably the best movie in the history of all the movies. In this case, Top Gun Maverick, Cruise was more focused on realism and accuracy than he was on stunts, although he certainly performed plenty, thus ensuring the work the U.S. Navy does was depicted with authenticity. From bits of dialogue and apparel to proper maneuvers, Cruise's obsession with realism paid off in the blockbuster. All right, starting from number 8, Top Gun is a real school. And I will point out, they already got this wrong. Top Gun is one word.
True.
It's a real school, but it's one word.
Yeah, Top Space Gun is not a real school.
But Top Space Gun is a movie.
Correct.
Well, this might seem like a no-brainer. Top Space Gun is an actual school in the United States. Top Gun is merely a nickname for what's actually called the United States Fighter Weapons School. Not anymore. And the school has been in existence since 1969, giggity. While it's more of a means of testing pilots' aptitude for war than it is about learning how to handle oneself in dogfights, the nickname Top Gun came from the fact that most jets during its inception had guns on top of them. I didn't make that up, dude. I just read that verbatim.
I remember reading that. That's horrible. That's almost exactly the opposite of what was true. It's like the F-4 didn't have a gun. That was the problem.
Well, in 1969, they were flying Sopwith Camels.
Apparently.
Apparently. Did that have a gun on top, Douglas? Where was the gun on a?
Yeah, 2 probably on top.
On the Camel, they were in the cowl. Pups had guns on top of the wing.
Oh,
see, not even right.
Well, a gun.
So, what are they called now? NODC, Naval Air Warfare Development Center.
Nautic, right?
NODC. If you really want to piss them off,
I thought it was
they don't like being called Nazis.
It used to be called NSOC or whatever. We always just called it Top Gun. I mean,
yeah, they still have the patch and stuff.
Yeah, of course.
But I don't know about the gun thing. That's news to me.
No, man, that's totally false. back in the 60s. Dude,
You
that
know what's
F4 was
funny? If you're such a fan of Top Gun, they literally explain how the school came about in the first movie.
yeah, like via text, like they type it
Yeah.
out for you.
They tell you all the things you need to know. But this person is like, well, the gun's probably up there somewhere.
It's mounted on top.
It's like the gangbangers.
Yeah, it's way up there, dude. Yeah.
Top Gun Maverick treats the school with the respect and authenticity required to properly reflect the school. First of all, they don't spend a single minute at Top Gun in Top Gun Maverick.
That's true.
They don't even go to Top Gun. They don't even go to Top Gun. At any point in the movie, are they actually at Top Gun?
That's true. They're at the bar. They're in the ready room.
They're at the North Island bar.
That's true.
They're at the North Island ready room. But they never actually make it to Top Gun.
Well, the second movie, I think, was more like Top Gun graduates, right? Whereas the first movie, they're going through Top Gun.
I'm reading what they said. I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying it treats the school with respect and authenticity. They don't even go to the school.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah. How do you respect something you don't even show up to? Anyway, most audiences might assume that every day at Top Gun is filled with high-intensity dogfights nonstop, which is what the movie portrays, right? That it's all dogfighting and nothing else. The reality of the situation is it's a lot like any other school a person could enroll in. There are egos and things of that nature, sure enough, but the movie's depictions of highly passionate individuals wishing to serve their country starting from mundane things rings truer than anything else. And what movie did this person watch? Because all it is egos. They're doing push-ups. They're talking.
Yeah, they're playing volleyball, football. Yeah.
But like, it's all egos. It's a whole movie. Yeah. It's a good movie. Please don't be mad at me. But
yeah, it's actually like ego over the top that like no self-respecting fighter pilot in real life would ever.
When they show up in the bar in khakis and start making fun of each other's call signs.
Yeah.
I don't think they watched the same. They must have watched the director's cut. The Snyder cut of Top Gun Maverick. Fighter pilots. Number 7. Fighter pilots are issued aviator glasses. Well, it may seem like an obvious thing to some and innocuous detail to others. Cruises Maverick, along with his fellow on-screen Navy airmen. Navy airmen? Is that a word?
Pilots, aviators, naval aviators. We're not airmen in the Navy. We're naval aviators.
Air persons. Air women. They even go with it. If they'd have just used the right term here, they wouldn't have to use both words. Like, you don't even have to be politically correct if you say naval aviators.
There's no such thing as a naval airwoman. It's a naval aviator. Get it right.
Get off my lawn.
That's right.
Are seen wearing a pair of aviator glasses throughout the movie. Aside from indoor scenes, audiences could almost always count on seeing any of the characters wearing glasses that have become synonymous with the Navy. I'm sure aviators look cool. They have a more practical purpose than folks. Oh my God. They have a more practical purpose that folks might overlook. According to real fighter pilots, it's not us, Gonky. Aviators are worn on the base and in their jets because they provide the best coverage of the sky. Additionally, they allow fighter pilots to endure the harsh and ever-changing weather conditions that they might have to endure while completing drills or actual missions. Even through this trend is settling down a bit, it's still very common to see fighter pilots either wearing aviators or sheathing them in between their shirts while indoors. Did you get issued Ray-Bans?
Dude, I want to say yes, but I'm not sure, to be honest. This is like 20-something years ago.
No, they're the square ones with the thing. They're not aviators like this. These are different.
I can't remember. I'm pretty sure they gave me something.
Government issued sunglasses are those square, and I only got them because they put a prescription in them, and then the prescription sucked, so I never wore them.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I don't think they've ever. I've never gotten it. I've never. I mean, now granted, most of my stuff was issued when I was in the Air Force. When I got to the Navy, I never saw that.
Well, and the other thing is, the only naval aviators that I saw who wore like any kind of glasses, like shaded or not, were guys and gals who needed them to see. Because most of us, the best coverage is this giant tinted freaking thing you slide down in front of your face. Perfect, right? So the visor is the best.
You don't put them hang them on your shirt and you don't put them on your head. Ask me how I know that.
Yes. Yes.
Curtis.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and it's funny. They talked about one of the LSOs when I was learning was like, the whole point of like the less glass you have to look through, like the better ball flyer typically you are. So like if they're like, hey, wear contacts, right? Don't do glasses because they fog up, they get dirty. And that's just one more piece of glass. Looking through that, probably your visor, the two panes on the HUD and the windscreen. So yeah, people who wore those probably had prescriptions.
All right, number 6, Penny ringing the bell at the bar is real. That's actually true.
That's true.
A somewhat hilarious, but let's see. I want to see if they know why it's true. Like it could be true. You can like a clock can be wrong all day long, but right twice a day. A somewhat hilarious detail Cruise was obsessed with, showcasing to audience, was the barkeep's emphatic ringing of a bell whenever someone did something they weren't supposed to do in the bar. Whether it be at a pilot's club or bar, the bell is rung to enforce various rules that some pilots might consciously or unconsciously break. As funny as it was when it happened in the movie, its real-life implications are much more serious. Oh boy, here we go. To be a member of the U.S. Navy, the person must display the utmost respect at all times when on base. If they wear a cap indoors, act rowdy, whether under the influence or not, put their phone on the bar, go behind the bar, etc., the bells are rung loudly and clearly. This is done to maintain order and discipline on the base. In Maverick is the one who Penny rings the bell for, and it happens in front of all of his students. This moment was a great subtle way to remind him that nobody is special or exempt from following the rules.
Well, it's true. Nobody is exempt from the bar rules, but the rest of it's pretty garbage.
So. You're conflating. Yeah, it's not. They're bar rules. They're traditions. That's not like a UCMJ offense. That just makes it sound like when you're on the Navy, we're going to salute. No, it's different.
It's tradition, right? It's actually a game, but I mean, yeah. I'm not sure this person has ever actually been in a O Club.
No. Number 5, Afterburner is real and not just cool looking.
And I mean, that's after the burner section too.
That's actually true though. It is cool.
Yeah.
But it's real. On many occasions, the various jets in Top Gun Maverick can be seen emitting a fiery orange flame from their exhausts during takeoff from the carriers and other scenes. One would be forgiven for assuming this was CGI or some other sort of filmmaking wizardry at play. But as it turns out, this is fairly common in real life. This unique visual is known as an afterburner. And its strategy, it's a strategy that is used to give jets an extra thrust or boost when taking off. Afterburner is used in instances that require speedy completion of a mission or even a training drill. While the standard amount of thrust at an F-18 Hornet, the jets commonly seen in the movie, can attain just under 11,000 pounds of thrust, Afterburner allows them to achieve 18,000 almost in an instant. Because ludicrous speed, go. Because most casual audiences would be none the wise and would assume this is something that is always supposed to happen, its inclusion speaks to Cruise's attention to the minor details.
Wow, speaking of minor details, those thrust numbers are closer to the Legacy Hornet, not Super Hornet, so we're gonna have to check the data.
Like one motor.
Yeah, that's correct. The Super Hornet has more thrust than that. So
your single engine. What is the? Never mind. I'm gonna pour salt in that one. Number 4.
Oh, my tears.
Number 4. Maverick really would be leagues ahead of his students. Let's see what they say. One of the key aspects of Maverick's character is how, despite his shortcomings, is that a joke because he's short?
He is short.
He
can run though.
Jab. His shortcomings in his personal life, he is exceptionally skilled fighter pilot. While his unorthodox methods often cause him to clash heads with his superiors and even fellow pilots, they have to concede to the results that his passion brings. Observing his role in Top Gun Maverick, he's shown to completely and utterly outmatch his students with an almost unrealistic zeal and flair. But the reality of this depiction is that it isn't too far off from the truth. In real life, the most proficient student isn't even nearly half as skilled or qualified as the most proficient instructors. Dude, if that's the case, you have hooked this ride. Like, if you're not even half as good, you're going to be seeing this one again.
Like 2 minutes into the brief, it's like, okay, wait, just stop. Your plan is horrible.
Yeah. You're just going to be a down. You're going to need to see this one again. This is necessary because the work that fighter pilots do is very complex and nuanced. And for fledgling pilots to truly grasp the nature of their responsibilities, they have to be humbled by a highly skilled pilot early on. While some may have felt Maverick was being harsh on his new students, Cruise's Oscar-worthy performance was much more realistic than some may have realized. False. Wrong. Here's the thing. So I'll give you that instructor-student, right? Instructor's going to be better than student most of the time. Even old guy in Squadron, which we talked about when we did Mover Ruins movies, and somebody thought I was using a Japanese slur because I mentioned somebody's call sign from our squadron that used to be like that. That's all fine. It's good. The thing is, though, these were not students. They were all Top Gun graduates. They were all instructor pilots.
Yeah.
There should not be this giant gap like they've never seen a jet in a dogfight before in their entire careers.
Yep, pretty much.
Oh, I thought you were going to say more than that.
No, dude, it's
good job, Gonky. Keep looking pretty. Number 3, the physics seen in Top Gun Maverick are accurate, and they show a CGI picture of one jet multiplied 3 times. Anyway, one of the Top Gun Maverick's most notable aspects was the raw kinetic force of the IMAX cameras were able to handle and depict. While real-life fighter pilots have confirmed that not every day is as exciting as one may assume, they've also stated that when things get serious in the sky, it can often be very physically demanding. Considering that Cruise is a certified pilot in real life, it isn't surprised to see that the actor wanted to get behind the cockpit again to showcase the force of the Navy's jets. One consistent criticism about the original Top Gun is that it didn't depict the effects of flying around in these fighter jets. Top Gun Maverick, on the other hand, showed the effects in subtle ways with characters' interactions with each other. While many of the men on the team had huge chips on their shoulders for personal reasons, a part of the bad attitudes was also due to the stressors of spending countless hours in the sky. Like, they mix so much truth with nonsense that it's very confusing.
Right.
Because, yes, I mean, IMAX did show how awesome this was.
Yeah, they did a good job of showing the physical side of it, in my opinion, with the camera and everything.
And they didn't do that in Top Gun, the first one, with G-string. Like, you still showed moving around and stuff like that. But I think, personal opinion, that's why I said I think. That's how you usually preface a personal opinion. Top Gun, the first one, did a better job of showing what it actually looks like than Top Gun Maverick with its spliced CGI hybrid reel or whatever, because the first one, they really did it. And I did an interview with those guys, and they went out, did close aboard. Because I remember the first time I did like an ACM engagement, and I'm arcing the fight, watching these two dudes dogfight, trying to find who's who. And I'm like, holy shit, that looks just like the movie.
Yep. Especially if they're in a roller.
Yes.
You're like, wow, I've seen that before.
Like that what they did in that movie, with no visual effects, none of that stuff, versus what they did in Top Gun Maverick, which was take real footage and then add visual effects to make it over the top. I think Top Gun gets the nod on what looks more realistic.
Yeah, and you have to expect that, right? Because I mean, look, we're bagging on Tom Cruise a little bit, but like he is a phenomenal entertainer, phenomenal actor, like legendary, and he is an actual pilot, and he
P-51, L-39. He's got helicopter. He's
a very accomplished pilot, no kidding. But like, for him to take it to the next level from the first one, I mean, he did the best he could, right? He took real flying scenes, and they're real flying scenes, but they're spliced together in unreal scenarios, which I think is a lot better than just a whole bunch of, GCI or whatever.
He made it more mainstream. He made it more mainstream. He made it like, you watched the first Top Gun, And you see it because, after doing it, okay, I recognize that this is what this is. That's what it looks like. People are not on that level. And so, the pop gun eating, drool cup types that go and need to just be entertained Fast and Furious style, this is a better depiction for them because it's entertaining.
Yeah.
It's not a documentary, as they say.
Yep.
Number 2, here we go. Maverick saying, I have information alpha.
And then?
Arguably, one of the biggest details that casual audiences would no doubt miss is the dialogue and codes used throughout the movie. As far as most people were concerned, the dialogue used during the dogfights would have been made up for the movie just to heighten the action. Was it really information alpha, or did they make that up?
Look.
What was the ATIS code? However, as many active and retired Navy personnel, does she just not...
Naval aviators, for God's sake.
Can they just... Are we just having that much trouble figuring out the word for this? Because they've said everything except the right thing. Have acknowledged so much can be communicated with seemingly minor call signs and codes, which I said when we got the picture call.
Yeah.
Dude, dagger picture, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
Whoa.
Nailed it.
Yes.
Nailed it.
Exactly.
I have information alpha.
Who cares?
Who cares?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's going to be Bravo in about an hour. Just so you know. Spoiler
good
alert.
For you.
Dude.
But the retired astronaut engineer, Chris Hadfield, expressed his joy over hearing Maverick say, I have information alpha. Despite it being said early in the movie and seemingly not meaning much, this phrase essentially means Maverick is aware of the weather and knows which runway is active, so his commanders don't have to repeat themselves. Why are his commanders repeating themselves? Why? What? What?
When's the last time your commander was like, what's the information there, mover?
Do we have any Willy Willies in the area? You get your butt back here.
Oh boy. Yeah.
What's more impressive about this moment is that, according to Hadfield, it didn't even need to be in the movie because almost nobody would get it, and its inclusion verified Tom Cruise as a real pilot.
Okay, it does. Yes, there was comm sprinkled in there that added, I could see his attempt at, authenticity, which is fine.
I do remember hearing that going,
yeah,
okay, that's cool.
I mean, like his range check-in, when he steals the Hornet, goes there by himself, like that was, that's what you would check in with range control, right? I mean, things like that. I mean,
I think we're not making fun of the movie so much as this.
No, we're making fun of this article, man. The article
this is not. There's difference.
This is a good example of fake news, but it's entertaining to make fun of it.
Yeah. All right. And this goes to show you never trust the media.
No.
Top
or the
Gun.
internet.
Anything. If it's on the internet. It has
or
to
podcast, right, mover?
100%. I'm not even real.
No.
So number 1, Gonky, you ready for this?
Hit it.
Top Gun Maverick's final mission is realistic.
As a suicide run? Next.
Well, it's realistic for Star Wars.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, let me get to the article because there's words here. The depiction of the climactic mission in Top Gun Maverick was completely spot on.
How?
Well, if you shoot 100 missiles and pop flares at them, they will decoy, no matter if they're radar or not.
Well, okay. That mission would never happen in real life because it's tactically, it's all wrong.
Go watch Mover's movies. We talk about this,
but
this whole thing is a B2.
For her to say that, you said it perfectly, man. There's little truths sprinkled in with complete nonsense.
Well, there's words. Let's go with the words. Let's see what the words say. Everything from the low-level dips to the high acceleration climbs, wrong. The barrel rolls. Do they even do a barrel roll?
There's probably
a barrel roll. And the high G turns that were shown during the movie's final moments were things that real pilots not only do, but do routinely. So I love the intent of what she's trying to get through. The execution is where
the facts aren't there though.
The words didn't go where they needed to go to make this a valid article. So the high acceleration climbs is one of the things we have a problem with, right? Because they're pulling 9 Gs all the way, like they're doing this infinite loop all the way, like it never stops.
Right.
But yes, a low level is intense and you're pulling Gs and you're canyon carving and all that stuff. I'll give them that. Would you do that for real? Not for this. In Top Gun Maverick, Cruise's insistence on the cameras being placed inside the cockpits during these intense scenes far exceeded the expectations of the trailers established. Moreover, it further showcased Cruise's knowledge and respect for what fighter pilots endure on a nearly daily basis, thus reinforcing the necessity for more realism in the movies. Cruise could have cut corners and called it a day, but if he had done that, there's a good chance Steven Spielberg might not have claimed Top Gun Maverick saved Hollywood.
I mean, you know what? I'll give the article credit there. Like, he didn't cut corners. You know, from a guy that's an entertainer, not an actual fighter pilot. Like, I can see he definitely went out of his way to make sure that this movie was as realistic as, I mean, how much realism and storyline and stuff can you cram into an hour and a half? And I think overall that, I mean, they did a fantastic job, but the way this article is written, there's just a lot of like not truths in it, or not whole truths.
So here's where we got our Micah Bailey wrote this. CSULB, film graduate, amateur filmmaker, is drawn to stories with compelling characters and interesting stories. Values integrity and honesty and ensures his work is well researched and fact checked. I'm gonna say no, but that does add context because you're watching this through the eyes of a filmmaker, not somebody who has ever touched an airplane.
That's true. That's valid. Knowing that now that he's a filmmaker type, but still, man, you gotta.
The last part was just was determined to be a lie. It is not well researched and fact checked. I mean, Twitter was the source.
Yeah.
All right, we've got some supers from the kids at home. Franklin, I saw an article today about the table of contents. Boeing F-15EX-2 flew in its final configuration. Why is it going straight to the National Guard? Because that's who needs it.
Yep.
Active duty's going all in on Fat Amy, and the Guard needs to do something with their Eagles. Got a lot of capability, which we've got a trailer on the Guard here in a little bit. So we're going to be talking about the Guard. Banks Midor, Mover. Your Mover Runs Movies on Top Gun 2 is what introduced me to your awesome channel. Thanks for the awesome analysis and genuinely entertaining content. Thank you, Banks.
Thanks, man.
Still get angry comments on that one. Maxim says, First Responders Day yesterday. Thank you for your service, Deputy Lemoyne. I was staging on a SUIW call yesterday. Code green, luckily, but yet another reminder of mental health. Take care of self. Yep, 100%. I completely agree. Garrett, studying for the USMC ASTBE. Any tips for success? I also got the opportunity to meet and have a long talk with the USMC Commandant.
Wow.
This guy is going to be market. Garrett's going to be
make it.
Commandant.
Gonna make it.
He's going to be if they don't drum out his enthusiasm within 3 years, he's going to end up going places.
True. Imagine that.
Yeah, imagine that. Maxim Alexandrov told the ass ram joke to the former B-15 driver at work the other day. He is mad at me now. It was perfect. Thank you, Mover. Waka,
priceless.
Waka. Waka, waka. Cluterus.
Hey.
Dude, we had a guy in the comments for one of my other videos say that he would double whatever Cluterus puts up to not have to see his name again. If Gonky leaves, we need to have him tell us how he was tagged Gonky. The real story, nothing less, a riot. I got here. He's not leaving. Gonky's.
I'm not leaving, so I guess
forever.
the mystery continues.
Now we are even more all in. Like we either crash and burn or make it to whatever.
That's right.
Do we have a goal? I don't know.
1 million? No.
Gonky Rogan. Modman says, I've noticed that retired fighter pilots keep their helmets when they retire. Are F-35 pilots allowed to do this too? Probably. I think they are, minus all the stuff. So it's not all the electronics and stuff. They just get the shell. I don't know, though. You have to ask somebody who flies such an airplane. Masic 10. Gonky, which actor portrayed a fighter pilot the best? Are you gonna say old Thomas Cruise?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
No, dude. The president of Independence Day.
Oh yeah. You know, I don't know. Like Duvall did a good job too in the Marine movie, but they take traits that a lot of fighter guys have and embellish them a little bit, which is fun. But I mean, Tom Cruise is hard to beat.
Tom Skerritt.
Val Kilmer. I mean,
Tom Skerritt.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think Viper, really.
Yeah. You're right.
I mean, you don't do that. Nobody does that.
Yeah. Like I said, man, they all have traits. I mean,
honestly, if T-Bear were here, he would point out that it's Doug Masters.
Yeah, I was gonna say Doug Masters, dude, but Chappie, maybe it's Chappie.
Chappie played the best reservist.
He did.
He played the best depiction of a reservist.
Yeah, he died.
Yosarian I Lives says, Chat GPT generated articles.
Oh, maybe.
Could be.
Yeah, you're right.
Nathan Cooper, high acceleration climb is a funny term for ejecting. Yeah, I like jettisoning the aircraft. Janitor is back. Thank you, Janitor. An active duty 60-year-old naval aviator owning a P-51 instead of a Corsair is total realism. I don't have a problem with that. I mean,
I mentioned it. I did. I was like, man, he should have had a Corsair, but I get it. He wanted his own airplane.
I'm talking the age thing because we had some dudes in their 50s. I mean,
yeah, but he's right.
Remember, this movie was supposed to be out in 2018. He wouldn't have been 60.
But still, I mean, it
was severely delayed.
You know what, though? They tried to address it, right? And they did a good job.
All right. Moving on. We got more stuff to talk about today. Oh, have it your way. Go guard. This is me. So, Gonky.
Yes, sir.
Dude, I'm impressed.
I'm going to say
I'm impressed. I have not seen a commercial like this in a long time. And it made me want to join. You ready?
Yeah.
There's two variations of this. We're just going to watch the one because I think
you're right at the cutoff now, aren't you? Age-wise.
I've got 2 years left.
You got 2 years? Okay.
Yeah, I got 2 years left before I can join again. But dude, check this out. And we were talking about recruiting and getting to people and going. And plus, I love the message. I love them. You can tell they paid somebody to do this. This was some ad firm, and they got it. So here we go.
Look, everybody wanna go talk it. At the same time, gotta walk it.
It's 15 seconds.
I get to load munitions on a jet.
We got stuck. Okay, we don't need all that. It's a short ad. I've been seeing it run on TV spots, and it hits the highlights, right? Go to the guard, serve where you want, do what you want. Whether you enlist or fly. Now, flying's obviously a little bit tougher to get into, but it hits the highlights, and that's the messaging. That's the messaging that they need to hit. Is the greatest secret in the world is the fact that you can go guard reserve and choose your own adventure. And in this case, they're using it with the guard, which is even better because the guard, state, serve where you live. Reserves are a little bit more active duty light and whatever.
Yeah, I mean, dude, they're selling it, right? I mean, cool pictures of jets,
yes,
men and women doing cool things, and it's informative and accurate too, right? I mean, typically the guard, it's like your unit down the street kind of mentality, right? They hire you for life kind of mentality. So, I mean, I like it. There needs to be a lot more of that. There's no agenda behind the ad. It's just very factual and it's motivating.
It's what you talked about last week about the Navy SEAL coming out of the water.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not quite that cool.
No, but it's cool.
But it's cool, and it gets the message across rather quickly for the TikToky generation that needs that 15 and 30 seconds. Plus, that's probably all they can afford for ad spots on TV.
Probably.
What with the state of the budget and everything. But the Guard is that deal. It is the Burger King. It is the have it your way. Is that Burger King? Whatever it
I think
is.
so, yeah.
Yeah, it's the have it your way. Go serve your state. There are cool missions. I love how they have the operators in there because nobody associates the Air Force with stuff like that, which we do have. They have all the different, they hit like a couple different AFSCs in that. And then there's still more options that you can go do. So,
yeah. It's a very straightforward, no politics, no agenda. It's 100%. Like, hey, come join the Guard because we're freaking awesome. And guess what? We can the part-time mentality, like you can do both. You can serve and have a life outside the military. Yep.
Which they always used to say, flexibility is the key to air power. You don't get any more flexible than choosing your own adventure. All right. This one is moving on now. I just wanted to hit that, so to speak. Dude, the DCS F-4E has been announced. So I've got to mute this for the music, which sucks because the music is good. But check this out, my man. Check this out. Phantom's
I watched
forever.
it.
Did you watch it?
Me and my son watched it.
Did you really?
Oh, he loved it.
Look at this.
Daddy, is that your fighter jet?
Look at that.
I know. That's awesome.
Like everything shakes.
Oh, yeah. It's like you're there.
I just think it's cool that they went to such level of detail.
Yeah, like the little car.
Yeah, like look at that.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Like even the e-brake, emergency brakes are shaking.
Here comes an SA2 at you.
I was going to say it should be spinning. If
it should
be spinning off. They really got that.
T-38, dude.
Yes. Oh, sorry. Give me flashbacks. But look at that thing,
so
dude.
Cool.
There's a part here. Let's see if I can pause it when it gets there. Oh, look at that flak.
Dude. Yeah, the big.
So when it comes out, are we going to do Colonel Toon?
Dude, I will fly. Was he in a MiG 15, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, dude, the Phantom, the F-4 is like one of my all-time favorite. I mean, the thing is just awesome.
Like I see what DCS players, like I see what they mean, right? When they get all excited about us flying these jets, because the first thing I see when I watch this, I'm like, dude, some of these F-4 guys that I've interviewed, I wonder if I could get them. Like I want to see their reaction to this.
Yes,
like I want to see
how real is it?
Flying. Yeah, I want to see
how real is it
in the sim, so they can relive. Look at that, dude.
That's awesome.
Look at the vapes.
Yeah,
like that's the modeling. Like it's all. I mean,
the stabs are turning too. I mean, it's what I'm saying. It's very, very real. The visuals in DCS are like second to none, dude.
Look how cool that is.
Yeah.
Even got the little. Oh, look at that.
No, dude, the leading edge slats coming out. It's awesome.
There was one part here. Might have been a different video. Look at that.
Yep.
Like, is this all in-game generated, you think?
Look, dude, they even get the exhaust right? Because it's a pretty smoky jet.
But like, look, the little guy in the back seat doesn't know what's going on, just kind of hanging out, looking around. You got that right.
That's like the Wild Weasel.
Look, look.
There he is.
You're talking about the old man with the cheaters.
Love them bad boys. You don't have 2020.
Eagle 20, Fox 3.
Yeah, exactly.
Hello, boys. I'm back.
Such a cool jet, dude. Phantom.
Yeah. But to me, it's interesting how much the cockpit looks like T-38 because they were of the same era.
Same.
That's what you went from one and it made sense because you were transitioning to the other.
Yeah.
But dude, they even got the flight suit. This is not our flight suit. This is totally different. Pretty cool. We'll stop that for now, but I just wanted to share that. I thought that was cool. It was very exciting.
Yeah.
Douglas, you back?
I am back, and I want to make Gonky jealous. I saw the Blue Angels and the Thunderbirds in Phantoms.
Oh, are you serious?
I am serious. My dad was a cop at the time, so we saw him from up close and personal.
You saw them when they were both flying Phantoms at the same time?
Yep.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I'm jealous.
Aaron says, I remember they used a bunch of Top Gun footage in YAG, and they added CGI afterburners to that, and in later episodes, maybe cringe a bit. I did not know that. We'll have to,
Thanks,
look
man.
at that. Garrett, it's nice to not see politics in a military ad.
Yep, exactly.
For sure. Janitor's back. Gonky's commute video, which you put out yesterday, makes me want to join the Royal Malaysian Air National Guard. Dude, that video is scary, man.
You know, I made that video like 10 years ago. I've got several I'm gonna bring over to the Ready Room channel. But yeah, I thought that one was pretty. That was literally my commute home every single day, and I took the ferry home, but on the way to work, I'd usually take the bridge, which was even more scary because you're like, you got her wide open and there's cars and all kinds.
Was it dying? It sounded like it was almost dying at the red lights. Like you're,
So that was an EX5 Honda I had, and I blew it up twice. And I can't remember if I had blown it up the first time because it ran with the ring broke in it for a while. But I ended up getting a Yamaha 135 LC, which is basically like a little crotch rocket scooter, and that thing was fast. But yeah,
wow,
good times.
It looked like you were violating quite a few traffic regulations.
No, dude. When in Malaysia, you got to be a Malaysian, dude.
Did you punch the guy next to you on that moped? Because there's one point where you're maneuvering in between a car and you get right in front of him. Is that when you punch him?
No, dude. Look, we're all friends on scooters.
Did they treat you as one of their own?
They did for the most part, but I'm not gonna lie. I was larger than most Malaysians. I was in a big old flight suit on a little Honda EX5, and I wore a full face helmet because I didn't want to die if I got hit by a car, which I did twice. Everybody else, was wearing a little half helmet, flip flops, loose clothing.
Yeah, I saw a lot of flip flops. There's a lot of flip flops out there.
One kid on the front, one on the back, and let's go, right? So I definitely stuck out, but you got to do what you got to do, man.
Right. Aaron says, Air National Guard, they have the meats.
Yes.
Trademark that one. Adam says, although not a fighter pilot, Gene Hackman rocked being a Vietnam pilot quite well. Even if he didn't, I love the movie. That one in Armageddon, too. The one that was the pilot, the Air Force pilot that went with him.
Yeah,
he did a very, he had that demeanor about him. Yossarian I Lives Tech says, as someone who's 25 in a comfortable place in my career and realizing I don't know where I want to go next in life, Guard is looking tempting, although I don't know what I'd want to do there yet. Hell yeah.
Yeah. Well, you could call it, call a recruiter, see what they have to offer.
The cool thing about the military, and especially Guard Reserve in general, is it's customizable. So you can go where you want to be and not have to commit to moving every, 3 years or whatever once you're done with training. But then you get a skill. Like if you're not sure what you want to be when you grow up, you get a skill that's then marketable that you can go take to the civilian world and actually do something with once you get out, because it's not that big of a commitment.
Not just flying either. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff.
And that's what people don't understand about the commitment too. Like on the flying side, it's 10 years once you graduate, but it's a reserve service commitment.
Right.
So that's reserve time. That's part-time. That's not, you don't have to do it full-time for 10 years. I can go do my airline job and this for 10 years and keep going, which most people will do after that, versus the active duty where you sign up for active duty. It's 10 years of active duty time, unless you can palace chase, which depending on the pilot shortage, they're not going to let you do usually. So just stuff to think about. Adam says, Bat 21, sorry. Okay, correction. Rose, with a cool guitar, says, stopping by to say I appreciate y'all and continue the good work. Hope everyone has a great night, week, and keep up the positive mental attitude.
Thanks, Rose.
Cluterus says, got disposable income each week, and you guys keep me entertained on Monday nights for work. My challenger wants to double down, then throw down. Damn. Damn.
I like it.
Damn. Modman says, what were your first cars?
Well, I could only afford one. I'm not like Mover. Mover was your first car?
I had an F-150.
Really?
A single cab F-150. Yeah.
What year?
98. It was a NASCAR edition.
Oh, so they had the 4.6. Did it have the 4.6 in it?
Yeah, I took the stickers off because I was embarrassed.
What, the F-150 stickers or the NASCAR stickers?
The NASCAR, because it had big NASCAR on the back. And yeah, I showed up to school one day with that and people made fun of me. So
really?
Oh yeah, no. Which is funny because I was such a trendsetter. It had black wheels. But back then, chrome and polished aluminum or whatever were all the rage or whatever. So yeah, that was that. But
yeah, I had a '89 IROC Z and I still have it.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah,
Gonky, you are a man of commitment.
Apparently, it's expensive, but yes. Oh, look at that.
Is that your first car, Doug?
My first car. I even had the Goodrich T. I had one Goodrich TA.
That's actually it?
No, that's not it. That's not the actual one. Mine was completely rusted out.
I was gonna say, dude, that thing is awesome.
I wish.
Yeah, no.
It was $75.
Oh, perfect.
Zippers Forever says Ed Harris is John Glenn in The Right Stuff. You know, I watched that movie for the first time the other day.
The Right Stuff? You haven't seen it?
I had never seen it until
oh my gosh.
It was like I got the notification on HBO Max that it was going away. So I was like, oh, I need to watch this movie. And I was like,
yes,
dude, I am not worthy.
It's a great movie.
Yeah, I'm not anything. Yeah, these are not okay. Moving on because we're running late here. Douglas, do you have the article? No. Yes, you're too busy showing off your. He's muted himself. We're in a PI.
I'm having technical difficulties. I don't have that article either. I was trying
you
to
guys with your internet problems.
I sent you the article. Did I?
So.
Yeah.
We can just talk about it. It's pretty.
Yeah, you
simple.
can. You.
I'll
They
go
just
find it while
raised.
you guys talk about it.
They just raised. So it's age 42 for enlisted. It's not for pilots. We're still at the 32 and 33 Navy Air Force respectively. But it used to be you couldn't enlist, and now age 42 because it could get you to age 62 with a 20-year retirement. My question is, why would you want to, Gonky?
Well, yeah, I mean that's a valid question. I mean that's pretty old. I mean 42 was just a couple years ago for me, and I'm like I just that point I just think at that point in a person's life. I'd be curious to see how many 40-year-olds they get, like in their first year, second year. I don't think it's going to be a lot.
Medical professionals, absolutely. Those that are have a skill.
Yeah, like your chaplains,
like
your doctors.
Our flight doc was probably in his 40s when he showed up, but he was an ER doctor.
Yeah, but as far as like. Your infantry types. I don't know, just not infantry, but
there. To me, there is a time in your life where you can put up with the bull.
It's a young man's sport.
Well, not just that, but just the like. I looked at people ask me about, well, have you ever thought about doing law enforcement as a real career? And I'll be honest. At one point, I looked at the state police because I was like, "Oh, that's cool. I love the flashy lights, wee woos, all that stuff." But then I looked at their academy. I was like, hell no, I'm not going through that. Like, there's no way as a 30 or 40-year-old man, I am going to go through the reindeer games of BMT or OTS even, or because you're done. You're over it. You've already seen the man behind the curtain.
Right. And honestly, I mean, when you're in your 40s, that's typically when you're doing your command tour. If you're an officer 05, 06, or enlisted, you're very senior enlisted. So I don't, like you said, man, I don't think it buys them. I mean, they could raise it to 100. I mean, they're not going to get very many applicants past the age of about 32, probably.
Yeah, I think they're just still ignoring the bigger problem, which is
100%
that they have an issue connecting with Gen Z or whatever the next one is. And also they have a production problem. They cannot put people in seats, and it's messaging. It's just messaging. You have to, like the commercial we just showed. It's about reaching. Now, that commercial looked cool to me. I'm not the target audience though.
Right.
So
Right.
I don't know. Maybe they needed to have somebody twerking. Like,
Yeah.
what? I
can't even
know.
I can't even make a smart joke about the current culture.
No,
I don't know.
I don't know. Like, what
Right.
do I know that I know? Here's what I do know. I do know, based on the sample sizes, I've gotten a lot of emails from kids that are aspiring to become fighter pilots. So I do know that at least what we're doing reaches part of that demographic. And I don't think they're that far off from what we were when their single focus is to do this job. So when they've already decided at that point that they want to do this, it's information. They want information. They want to be informed. They want to know, how do I get there? How do I do what you did? And I don't think that's changed. So, but that's already a captive audience. It's about reaching the people that are having no interest whatsoever right now and convincing them to have an interest and that they need to do this. And I think the answer is, there's so much complaining right now about, well, I got to, college is expensive, loans are expensive, housing is expensive, all that stuff. Guess what? All those things I just mentioned, if you enlist in the military, done, taken care of.
That's true.
You can cover college, you can cover housing, you can cover, at least while you're in, till you figure out what you want to be when you grow up. And it can give you skills that you need to go do it. And then decide, versus staying at your parents' house, getting a useless liberal arts degree and having $200,000 in student loans with no appreciable skill.
I mean, that's exactly what my dad and my brother both did. They were like, well, I'm 18. I want to get out of here. The easiest way to get myself on 2 feet is join the military. And they wanted to serve too, right? So they both enlisted in the Navy, like right out of high school. So I mean, I get it.
Yeah. You want free healthcare? You want college?
Well, it's not free. You work for it, but it is good healthcare. You're right.
Well, that's just like people saying, well, we need universal healthcare. Guess what? Your taxes are going to pay for it. There's no such thing as a free lunch.
Nothing's free.
No, there's no such thing as a free lunch. It's just how you earn it that matters. And for me, I like to choose my own adventure. So would I like to go and serve in the way that I think best fits my personality and skills, or would I like to meander around and live at home and end up, because you're going to be indebted to somebody.
Right.
The money does, unless you're a trust fund, even if you're a trust fund baby, you're going to be indebted to your parents. I mean, it doesn't, you're always going to be indebted to somebody. It's just, you're choosing how and where you do that. And it's a pretty cool thing to serve your country.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it is. And like I said, the way they sold it is good, but I don't know, like I said, or like you said, 42, that's a different audience.
You should probably already be established in a career. I mean, not probably. You should already be established in a career by 42.
Yeah.
You should have something to offer.
Yeah. You shouldn't be in the basement of your mom's place at 42. No. Be like, all right, it's time to get out of here. I'm going to join the Air Force.
I'm joining the Air Force.
Can you sign for me? You're 40. It's like, oh.
Yeah. Can we make bunk beds? There's going to be so much more room for activities.
Is he going to yell at me?
I'm not calling him dad. Anyway, Banks said, this is absolutely better than Monday Night Football, and it's interactive. And yes, my wife says, wow, you do have disposable income. And I say, totally. Thanks, Banks.
Thanks, Banks.
Got him in trouble with the wife. Eric says, old F4E and RF4C ANG crew chief here. Got a backseat ride from the March to Boise. Great time, throwing up twice. At my first job, I put together the flight suits for Plastic Turkey 2, Iron Eagle 2.
That's cool.
Yeah, it is cool.
You got to ride an F4. That's awesome.
Modman says, in AFROTC field training, We had a recently commissioned 45-year-old chaplain, Army infantry. He was Army infantry in Vietnam and decided to join the Air Force at 45.
Yeah, with for like chaplains, JAGs,
Commissioned
doctors,
officers, COT, the non-line.
Right.
I just can't see you going. It's a young man's game, or woman, young person. Aaron Franz, they'll need to add a cane holder to the F-35. Well, no, because they're not taking pilots. This is not a pilot thing. This is not an officer thing. This is enlisted. I don't know. Corey says $5.
Thanks, Corey.
$5. All right, moving on. I don't know what's next. I've run out of the things. Doug, you've got something. You've got the article now. Oh,
Ooh.
Thunderbird close call.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
All right, here we go. We're gonna present, share screen. I'm behind already, and can you see that, Gonky?
Yeah. Looks good.
All right,
Thunder
so
chickens go.
look closely at the rejoin. Okay.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that looks like some things happen. So what precedes this is the solo at the 0.9 pass flies right through him. And from what I read from a former Thunderbird pilot, they're supposed to do a check. The lead is actually supposed to check over to prevent this from happening. And they don't. And what that does is it gets, looks like a -3 over there into the wake turbulence. And boy, that's squirrely.
Yeah. Yeah, you're low and slow. It's wake turbulence. No bueno.
He's gone. He's just broke out, which is what you do. I mean, if you're a risk to the formation,
Get away.
You break out. That's one of the breakout things you'll learn in pilot training is, you break out if I'm a threat to the formation. But Doug, what do you have down there?
I've got a slightly wider video.
Okay.
This is what happened after he broke out.
All right.
Watch all of them go gear up too.
Yeah, was
Right
that was that planned though? Were they already, or do you think there was a call?
My recollection is no, but my recollection is probably 15 years old. How long have they been flying F-16s?
A long time.
Yeah.
Like 30 years.
Yeah, 30 years. Love it.
That's not a joke, dude. I think it's about 30 years.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
They've been flying the Hornet since 86.
Dude, look at that thing.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
Dude, they almost touch wingtips.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Yeah. Clean up, go around, no power.
Clean out your shorts.
Yeah. Well, you remember they had that close call during COVID where they were trying to avoid a helicopter and the one guy
clipped the Lao, right?
Did they actually touch? I don't remember if they touched. I just remember you see him breaking away because he, became a threat to the formation and stuff. And that wasn't wake turbulence. That was just because that sudden maneuver to get away from there was a news chopper that was trying to film them, and to get out of that way, they just about touched tips. So, all right, cool. Moving on to our voice messages for today. We've got a few, and let us. I haven't listened to these, dude.
Uh-oh. Yellow light.
I should have. I feel like I should have. But
let's walk on the wild side.
Well, yeah, I'm still a little scared here. All right, here we go.
Hey, Mover, Gonky, Wombat. Hey, this is Greg, calling in from San Francisco. Long-time listener, third-time caller. Anyway, happy Halloween, folks. It's good to talk like Batman. Oh, one more thing. Hey, you guys did an episode a while back where you interviewed Nasty Manazar about the recovery of the A6 pilot with the partially ejected navigator. Turns out that pilot is also a classmate from Kings Point. Anyway, take care, guys, and it's good to talk like Batman. Happy Halloween. Bye-bye.
It's always good to be Batman.
Yes, happy Halloween.
Do you have anything to say to the man? I'll just ask you a question, Gonky. That's a Navy question, dude. I have no idea what he's talking about.
It wasn't a question.
Okay.
Right. I mean, he was just saying that.
All right. We'll just move on. Thank you for the question.
He just made a statement.
Well, thank you for the statement.
Yeah.
All right.
I
This next
moved
one.
from Gonky. My name's Connor from Boise, Idaho, and I have a couple questions for you today. First of all, so I'm interested in flying, but I also would like to be an infantryman as well. Would you suggest joining the Marines to be both pilot and infantryman, or do you think I should go fly helos in the Army?
A-10s
And also,
in
I've
Boise.
heard that the Navy has a lot less restrictions as to what you can do with the plane when you're flying. Is that true? And then what exercises would you suggest to help me train to be physically fit for the application to Naval Academy, Air Force Academy, or the officer candidate school? Obviously, I'm doing push-ups, crunches, and pull-ups, and stuff like that. But are there any other exercises that you would suggest? And then also, would you suggest doing Civil Air Patrol for the Navy? Thanks for everything you do. Bye.
Doug, did you write any of these down?
That's more than 3.
We're going to need notes on that one.
So he's already got. So he's definitely qualified for the Marines now. No, I'm just kidding. No, I love the enthusiasm.
Yeah, that's cool.
So ignoring everything you just asked and inputting my own thing from the first thing I heard, you live in Boise, dude. The best A-10 squadron in the world is in Boise, and I think they're transitioning to the Viper here in the next couple of years. To me, that's what I'm doing. I'm going to real college, and I am putting every effort I can into rushing that unit to become a Viper driver in Boise, where I'm from. That's just me. But I guess if we're going to answer the actual questions as posed, if you wanted to do infantry and fly, I think you need to pick.
Well, I don't know. So obviously I went through flight school with Marines, and so Mover and I are kind of the same. Like, I never had any desire to be like cold, muddy, and nasty with gun. Like, I love guns, but like, carrying my gun through the woods and doing the whole infantry thing. Like, I wanted to be the guy in the air. Now, if you really genuinely like that, aspect of the military, I think the Marines is a great choice, because you're going to get all the training that, a rifleman in the military is going to have. Right. So you go to OCS, and then you're going to go right afterwards. You go to TBS, which is like, they teach you basically how to do all the ground stuff. And then a lot of the guys, even the guys that went Hornets, guys and gals, as soon as they finished their Hornet training, like, their next tour wasn't to a fleet squadron. It was, hey, you're going to go be a ground fac, in the desert for a year, which at the time, I was like, complete waste of money, because you just trained a dude in a Hornet or a girl. And now you're going to take them for a year, and they're going to go, play G.I. Joe in the sand. When they get back, they got to go right back to training, right? But if that's what you like, and some of those guys actually like that, that part of the military, it's, I don't know, being a Marine, right? So you got to ask yourself, is that what you want? But if you're trying to pick one or the other, I mean, that's a pretty
they're very different.
Big choice. Yeah, they're very different. Very different. Now, sorry.
I was just going to say, so, other than the other part of the question, academy versus, real college, naval ROTC, Air Force ROTS.
I don't. Yeah, I can't.
Well, so there's something to be said about ROTC, just because on the active duty side, the academies and ROTC, you're much more likely to get a pilot slot. Just in general, bulk, how many they have,
yes,
your odds of getting there. Once because it's the old saying, you're in the system, once you're in the system, it's very easy to move within the system, versus off the street. It's not impossible, but during that time you're off the street, nobody's responsible for you. So you don't have anything. You're just applying off the street. You need a real job. However, going back to my original argument about going and flying for the Boise A-10 guys, dude, that unit has they have ALOs, they have a JTACs. You know, you want to fly and be infantry, they're an A-10 unit right now. And if you get in, you know, if you got enough time, I don't know, how old was he? He's not in college. So I mean, he's at least 4 years away. But so they'll probably be flying Vipers, which is the world's greatest airplane. So, I mean, I think that is an option. ROTC is probably a good option. It just depends on how college is being paid for, because obviously you don't want to be in debt when there are options available to you where you are, whether through ROTC scholarship, through going to the academy. I mean, the academy's hard to get into. There's appointments and all that stuff. I mean, it's not an easy process, and you have to start early in your high school career to get there.
Right. Yeah.
Gonky, how do we? So,
well, and now mover is assumption is you want to stay in the area. So yeah, I don't know if you do or not. If you do, like what he's saying is 100%. If you don't, obviously that opens up.
Yeah. I just see the opportunity because I know how good of a squadron that is. But, you know, he mentioned Army helicopters. You know, Casmo flew. I mean, he drove tanks. You know, and that's probably not standard in the Army, but there's definitely that path. The thing about Army, though, if you're going to go Army, I'd go warrant officer. You know, I wouldn't even.
Yeah, so I've flown with a couple of Army guys. You know, they did the whole rotor to fixed wing transition. I always ask them because Army aviation to me is this like I don't really know a lot about it, but you know they spoke very highly of it, and you know they really enjoyed it. And there's a definite blend of being a soldier and being a pilot, primarily obviously helicopters if you're gonna go that route. But like Mover said, typically the warrants in the Army do a lot more of the flying vice the officers. But yeah, I mean, it sounds like you got a little bit of time, you know, just keep researching.
Infantry. Speaking of, when are you getting on the, hey, when are you coming to be a guest host, Mr. Gun Pilot? We're supposed to follow up on that. I'm going to follow up with you after this because you're supposed to be a guest host, sir. We're talking about Apaches. It's
yeah,
it's awesome.
Yeah, but, you can shed some light on it.
As far as the exercises go,
yeah,
just run and
just take care of yourself. Yeah, just you don't have to get, you know, Arnold's Book of Bodybuilding. It's like just take care of yourself. Don't pizza and beer every night's probably not the right answer.
Creatine, you know.
And then
don't do that.
And the big thing is just don't, like in college or even in high school, don't do anything to get yourself arrested. You know, you don't want any kind of record or anything like that.
Don't overtrain either, because an injury when you're young becomes severe arthritis when you're old.
Yeah. Just if you're doing high school sports, you know, that's more than most.
Run.
Do a little running.
Is the hardest part. I mean, if you can
do a little running, yep.
Running is where it's at. Okay.
The thing is, if you show up to any of the boot camps with physically in good shape, that's just one thing. I never worried about like the run or the push-ups, sit-ups, because I knew I could do that. It was everything else that I worried about. So if you can just eliminate, that's one thing that you do have control over. So just take care of yourself. You should be okay.
And make them tell you no.
Yes.
And the next one.
Good evening, gents. BC here with another question. You all got cool call signs like Gonky, T-Bear, Wombat, and Mover. I guess Doug doesn't need one because he is just cool by himself. If I would bump into any one of you, I would use that call sign because I have no clue whatsoever what your real first names are. My question is twofold. Firstly, what are your first names? And secondly, do you in real life mix those up as well or use either one? For example, do you know you're in trouble when the missus says, "You forgot to put out the trash again, Gonky"? Or would she just call you by your first name, which may as well mean even bigger trouble? I'm curious about that one. Thanks again. Have a good one.
That's hilarious.
Cornwallis Wilbur.
Yeah. No, my first name is Trevor, but people, honestly, I respond to both. It's funny because, some people outside of the military call me Gonky, and that I'm perfectly fine with that. My wife does not. she calls me other things that I can't say here because
Is it worse than Gonky?
It depends on how.
Does she know what it means?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I get it called all the husband names, jerk,
Schnookums,
no,
sugar bug,
Mr. Insensitive, all that stuff. Typical, right? So,
yeah. So it is weird because this new military job is so awkward. It's so awkward because some people, like they call you by your rank and your last name, right? Like Major Lemoyne, hello, and that's weird because in the fighter world we don't do that unless you're in trouble, or it's very official and they're wanting to document something. Then there are the ones that won't call you the call sign, that want to call you by your first name, which is also weird because you don't remember your first name because no one's called you by your first name in about 20 years. So like that kind of trips me out. And then then it's like, is it insulting or like they don't, are they doing this? And then there's the hey mover thing, which I think that's just standard at this point.
with the names, the one that always gets me is like when I meet like a new, like if you were married, mover, like first thing my wife, hey, I met this guy, mover. He's in the squadron, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, he's married. What's his wife's name? Mrs. Mover. Like that's because
it used to be Mrs. T-Bear. Like I have no idea. It's Mrs. T-Bear.
Right. It's like this.
You got remarried. It's also Mrs. T-Bear. Like,
correct. Yeah. So like and she would get mad at me. She's like, why don't you learn their names? I'm like, I did. It's so, but yeah.
Yeah. Doug, you have anything to say about this?
My first name is Doug. I will point out there's some awkwardness when you and I are in public, mover, because I have to remember what audience it is, and whether I can call you by your actual first name or not.
I've had like T-Bear, I had to warn about him because it's people that have known me longer than I've had a call sign where it gets weird. Because if you've known me since I became mover, everybody calls me mover. But if you knew me pre-mover, BM.
Yeah.
I knew you when you were Mr. Lemoyne.
Just like BC.
Yeah. If you knew me pre-mover, then it's first names, and that's weird. And the weirdest one is dating, because you go introduce yourself.
Call me mover.
Yeah. Mover. Did your mother not like you? What do you even put on there? So yeah. And then there's that whole public facing thing, the CW, Cornwallis. It's very confusing. Everybody's it's a thing. So yeah. But anyway, that was cool. Jay says coolest was they put mover on the ARCA car, and they did. Doug, you remember when they did that, when they peeled it off?
Yeah, it was about the brother. I can't think of his name. He did it.
That sounds so bad, Doug.
Sorry.
Fraternal brother, not.
Oh, wow. No, I'm not that generation.
Yellow light.
Oh, we went there.
Yeah, well, we're not going any further.
The Gerhardt brother.
The Gerhardt brother, who was the brother of the car owner.
Brother. Yeah, the car owner. Man, I hope we can go back. I really do. I hope we figure out a way. At this rate, it's not going to happen with me getting canceled after this one.
It was Billy, right?
Billy Gaber. That's right.
You go.
You're right. Billy. All right, back to the questions, and then we're going to wrap this thing up because it's bedtime. Janitor is back. Stay in parents' basement. Make them say no. No, make them tell you no. Make them say no is the other thing.
Oh,
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I know what he's saying. Yeah, just trying to help. Kronos.
Thanks.
Thank you. It's culture. I studied IR youth. Don't think war is cool.
What's IR youth?
Infrared.
I don't think war is cool either.
Yeah, but flying jets is cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Serving your country is cool.
Yes, exactly.
You know, that's it. Plexi, your boy, says the Viper is the world's greatest airplane that isn't the Hornet.
Dude, Plexi,
What
he's
is
just
this- what
he's
is
Fox
Plexi?
2 and Fox 3 and
What?
everybody.
Explain to me because I'm not read up on this. Read in on the meme theory with Plexi. Is this something from like one of your things?
No.
Just
Mover, look, hey, don't anchor with Plexi, he'll get you. Keep going, dude.
all right. Petro Mark. Dude, look at
That's
that.
a nice airplane.
Is that Maverick?
I think it's Petro Mark.
I heard that they were trying to create a path from enlisted to pilot in the Air Force. P.S. My favorite is John Belushi as the P-40 pilot in 1941.
Valid. Very valid.
I haven't heard of that. I've heard the enlisted to RPA, but I haven't heard anything about an enlisted to like radiator wing thing. I haven't seen that. Not saying it doesn't exist. I just haven't heard of that one.
Yeah.
I think honestly, if it were me and I were king for a day, I would turn the Civil Air Patrol into your pipeline and start kids off in high school and get them pilots licenses, which I know they do already, but I would fund that more so that you can then go to poor communities that you're not going to be able to pay for pilot training, and then get that bug early and get them started flying, and then get their license when they're old enough to fly, and get them soloed when they're old enough to fly. And then they're learning the military culture and they're learning the military tradition. And then you have a pool of applicants. And then that pool of applicants can either, okay, hey, thanks. I did my Civil Air Patrol stuff. I'm going to go off and do something else. Or they go into the military and they've already got that baseline and they already kind of know what to expect. And they've already done the flying. You're basically moving that IFS or IFT, whatever they're calling it now, that program further, and you're putting them in communities. You're saying, New Orleans, here's your flight training, and it's a flight training program more than, or in addition to what they're already doing. That's just me. I don't know anything, dude. I'm not smart. Seth says, have a good evening, fellows.
Thanks, you, Seth. You too.
All right, Gonky. I think that about covers all the topics. Is there anything we didn't cover, Doug?
No, not that I
Doug,
can think
are
of.
you okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
It's late. I'm old and had a bad week.
Yeah. That's true. Bad weekend. It's only Monday.
It is Monday, isn't it?
All right, Gonky. Any parting shots? Is this the last episode?
No, I won't make it next week. I'm gonna do sometime next week. I'll do a Ready Room Live
So it is the last episode with Gonky this month.
This month? Yeah. Well, dude, it's the last episode this month, period. Come on, dude. Yeah, no, I'll be out of pocket next Monday.
Says farewell. Yeah. Are we going to get a video on your channel of your racing?
I don't know, man. I'm an amateur. I'm not. Nobody wants to see that. I'll send it to you. Mover. You can laugh at me.
There's two of us that want to see it.
I am bringing a couple of GoPros. I don't know what's
Listen.
going to be more interesting: the 2,000-mile each way journey in my motorhome, or the actual racing. So,
dude, vlog both of them. People watch that on YouTube all the time. Either way,
you think so?
100%. Douglas, back me up on this one.
Absolutely.
Really?
Dude, people love that. There's a whole channel devoted. You could find another avenue that you didn't know existed by vlogging this. Now, my question is, because you have an iPhone 4 or 3 or whatever it is,
SE2,
is your GoPro also like the original one?
Okay. So I borrowed my cousin's GoPro 8, and then I have a Hero 2.
Dude, an 8? They're on like 13 now.
It's better than my Hero 2. So
Kate says keen on the vlog.
I don't know. Maybe I'll put something out there.
As long as it's 1080p.
Wait a minute. Here's the funny part. It's all women that are saying they would watch a Gonky vlog.
Oh boy.
I'm just saying, dude, you have to vlog the trip, and then you have to vlog the motorcycle thing, dirt bikes or whatever, your midlife crisis, and then you have to vlog the way back.
I'll see what I can do.
Losers whine about their best.
Dude, I'm not whining. I'm just
you got to, man. You got to. Even if it only gets 10 views, dude, you just don't know what you might open up. It could be like you could
I'll say this, there will be a little bit I am gonna put a little bit of the Malaysian riding I did, because it's so much different than in the US. But
sorry, Areolas. I apologize.
I'm
sorry. I apologize. I just saw. See, there you go. Kelly says she'd watch. All the women are like, dude, you could be rich.
Yeah. It's I don't know. I'm going for fun. Yeah. Maybe I'll have some cameras going.
Dude, 1000%. You have to now. There's no other answer. No, we're definitely
pure pressure, man. Come on, pure pressure. I can't
pure pressures. Look,
I can't handle pressure.
Gonky Hero 2 helmet POV. Is it the same camera that you filmed the little moped thing in 2005?
Yeah,
dude.
Yeah,
Are you passing through here? Are you passing through my neck of the woods?
Yeah,
I'll give you a GoPro. I got
really?
you. Yeah.
All right.
On the condition that you vlog the RV and the thing, and you bring it back.
I'll bring it back for sure.
Yep. Got you.
All right. We can talk offline about that.
No, we air all our grievances online.
It's all right.
Oh, Aaron says you missed my super chat. Give Doug his shout out.
We did.
Did we? Aaron. I thought we did. I apologize. I thought.
To be fair, I'm pretty sure I missed it too.
Oh, well, shout out to you, Douglas. Thank you. And then Janitor is back. $20 donation for Gonky Vlog Racing, dude. I am telling you, you won't need the Gonky and Mover show. You're a professional dirt bike motocross driver or whatever.
Got some more kids books coming too. So
yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Oh, I think in your absence, by the way,
I do race a 2-stroke. That's all I run. That's what
I think we're gonna have Shanghai as the guest host next week. Just me and Shanghai and Doug and maybe Wombat if he'll show up.
Go carry it.
Yeah, I think we got it. It's just a matter of getting a word in edgewise. That's all. It's the only concern. Anyway, all right. That's it. That's it.
Yeah. Thanks for everybody.
We appreciate everybody for watching. The show will go on, and Gonky's gonna vlog all the things. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.